Hello and welcome to Fearless Business. This is the show where we talk about being about the business of the kingdom. As we go about executing our marketplace assignments, we must ask ourselves, are we about the business of the kingdom? Now, whether you are an entrepreneur building solutions or an entrepreneur serving faithfully in another person's vision, this show is for you. Because your marketplace assignment is to impact lives with the good news and the supernatural love of God. Thy kingdom come and thy will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. For the next few episodes, we're inviting you to pause, reflect, and take deliberate action based on everything that we have learned since June of 2025. Now, don't just watch. Evaluate your current marketplace assignment and ask yourself a few questions. Number one, what would change if I truly applied these principles where I work or do business? Number two, come January 2026, what difference will people see in the way I show up? Now, as you rest and reflect, I hope that you're also asking yourself and planning for 2026. And one of the questions I want you to think about, it was what must be different about how I show up in 2026 so that I can see different results. My name is David Osijenyan. I'm the host of Fearless Business, and here goes. In June of 2025, during the debut, Pastor Moredi Wanjao, my senior pastor, and I unpacked what it means to have a kingdom mindset in the marketplace. Now, we talked about how kingdom thinkers approach wealth creation and the importance of a like-minded community. We also talked about how to build wealth infrastructure that would guarantee you success in your wealth creation and about the business. Here is what it looked like. One of the things that has really stirred me up and irked me many times is when we're thinking about a church project.
Yeah.
And man, it takes months, it takes years to just raise what I can now say a few million shillings.
Yeah.
And many times when you talk to the people, you can see the struggle is real.
Absolutely.
The struggle is real. When you look at other communities putting up some magnificent setups in just a short time.
In a short time.
And you're like, what are we missing?
It's doable.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that for me was what Dr. Home unlocked for me.
Yeah.
That, there's a formula.
Yeah.
Some of these things, it's not wanting, it's not psyching. It's like just, here's a formula. Just be faithful with it. And that's, I think that part, this show is actually part of the formula, by the way.
Right.
And we're going to be talking about that as we go along. But then the last step, and I think I said there were four. So the fourth one was an experiment that my wife and I, Pastor Caro, did, is where we started something called Couples and Money. And again, you've been a part of that experience.
Yes.
And what we thought is, let's pilot these ideas. What would it look like to help begin to shift people's mindset about money? Yeah. And to date, we've probably taken about 700 couples through that experience.
Wow.
It's been interesting to see them be able to put together resources, because we started a savings, joint savings of over 300 million Kenya shillings. Yeah. And that's not a small amount of money. And it's not come from cajoling people. It's just come from, hey, let's work together. Yeah. So I think those are the things that those are the milestones, if you want to call them, on this journey. Yeah. Where right now I feel like God is saying, this is the time. Let's begin this journey. Let's equip my people to just go to the next level of understanding the kingdom, understanding wealth, and being able to dominate this space, enter this space for the sake of God's kingdom, and prosper and thrive in it. Wow. So if you look at a lot of equipping for even Christian businesses, it's almost like take the world's playbook, learn from the Elon Musks. I mean, when you go to any seminar, they're going to be using very impressive names. This is what, and they use terms from the world. They use economic principles from the world.
As a trainer, I have
we quote all these guys. Look at what they did. They got this. Yeah. But we don't understand that the world's economic systems, first of all, are toxic and enslaving. And secondly, they are opposed to the biblical economic systems. I mean, think about one of the examples I like to give is Joseph. Yeah. In the Bible, this guy got a dream from God, legitimate dream. There's going to be plenty and then poverty. Yes. So what does he do? He's made the prime minister. And so he's in charge now of the national response. And he does something brilliant.
Yeah, and that was
to all
just an
extents.
amazing turnaround.
I mean, he turns around that nation.
Yeah.
He collects all the resources. He saves. So that when the time of drought comes, the global meltdown comes, Egypt is the only country ready to feed the world.
Yeah.
So all of us are like, well done. I mean, that's awesome. But think about it, because what I think that Joseph did is he used a playbook that was the world's playbook. I think God gave him the vision of what was coming, but I don't think God gave him the vision of how to respond. Because here's what happens with Joseph's system. When you read it, there are a few uncomfortable things there. Number one, by the time he is done,
yes,
the whole of Egypt is enslaved,
to
the
Pharaoh.
king.
Yeah.
The Pharaoh now owns everybody.
That's true.
Their production. If you've read the story, it's
That's
crazy.
true, yes.
So yes, they're eating, but they no longer are owners of their destiny. Somebody else owns them.
In fact, what's so shocking, and I'd never seen it before until when I read it again, is at the end, they're like, we have nothing. You've taken everything.
Now we're served.
Take us.
We're servants now.
Take our children. And they even commit generations
to become slaves.
Yeah.
And now, unknowingly, what Joseph is doing, he sets up a system that eventually enslaves his own people.
Wow.
Because his family comes down to Egypt, and then they become slaves for 400 years. Who set up that system?
Oh.
You would call it a follower of God.
What was supposed to be a liberation?
Exactly. A guy who took a revelation from God, but then instead of asking God for the how, he used the world's how. And as a result, enslaved an entire nation.
Oh, come on, Pastor M.
So this is one of the reasons why we must, as a church, we must think different from the world. We must equip people, because all our people are hustling. They're doing everything they're seeing their neighbors doing. They're reading the same business books they're quoting the same people they're seeing their neighbors quoting.
Yeah.
And then they're hoping for a kingdom result. But we don't stand out. And I think that's part of the challenge. And one of the reasons, I told you there's reasons why we must do this. This is one of the reasons. We're not just a show to talk about how to become rich. We're not just going to be telling you what everybody else tells you. There's a distinction in this show.
I can tell you, my business model is already being shattered right here.
In the world, there's that idea that there's only a limited number of resources. But kingdom mentality is about abundance. Our God is a God of abundance. He's the one who looked at chaos and said, let there be.
I talked about abundance for so long, Pastor M. I started to doubt it myself.
Oh, abundance is a thing, my guy.
Because everyone else you met seems to be thinking, that abundance you're talking about, we ain't seeing it.
No. Abundance is a real thing. Huh? There's no market. I don't believe there's any such thing as your market is saturated. Your gift can't. I really believe that God can give you one kingdom idea that unlocks a whole market.
Wow.
Yeah. You can be selling land, everybody else is selling land like you, but God gives you one idea and you start, your business goes like this, and everybody's wondering, how are you thriving in this economy? So that's the whole thing. Whenever people talk about, it's a hard economy. I say it's hard for who? Yeah, because it's not hard for everybody. There's some people, and sometimes people for wanting to be humble say it's a hard economy, but actually no. There are certain things you need to know that help you begin to understand God's economy is very different from the world's economy.
COVID time opened my eyes to
there you
that.
Go. Absolutely.
I remember we were trying to buy a car just after COVID, just around COVID time actually. And I remember we went to the yards, and the yards we had been to a year before, full of cars growing grass, had no vehicles. There's the showroom. Then there's the yard where they keep the cars before they bring it to the showroom.
They were all gone.
No vehicles, all gone.
I know.
People bought houses.
I was trying to buy a car at that time. It was quite an ordeal.
People bought houses that when you hear the figures, you're like, where were these guys getting money from? But it's just operating a different economy.
Absolutely.
For me, and I began to realize there's a place you reach where global disasters are mere inconveniences.
Absolutely.
They just slow things down for you a bit, but they don't stop you.
I actually met people who are earning a lot more than the people in my church, which I thought had rich people. And I remember I took a bunch of our people, and some of them were like serious professionals, serious business people. And then we're interviewing this guy who can't even speak English.
Wow.
Didn't even finish primary school. But then to realize this guy was actually earning more every month than almost anybody in my retinue.
Wow.
And I was mind blown.
Wow.
And he was thinking different. He was actually a farmer.
Yeah.
He was doing experiments in his farm, like serious experiments. Actually, one of the things that I always laugh is one of the guys I went with was an agricultural economist from, I think it was JKU Art, one of our major leading schools that teaches people science and technology.
Yeah.
And he saw some of the experiments this guy was doing on his farm and asked him, how did you do this?
Wow.
Who taught you how to do this? Because even he had never known things like this could happen.
Amazing.
And the guy said, I just saw a problem and I asked myself, how do you solve it? So I solved it. So it's like the thinking was so different from what you'd expect.
Wow.
And so the question then becomes, how did Bishop Masika turn these impoverished people into wealthy people? And the three things: number one, mindset transformation; number two, an empowered community; and then number three, the wealth infrastructure. So you're asking about the first one, the mindset transformation.
The mindset.
Yeah. First of all, it's important to know what mindset is, because mindset it really has to do with the mental attitudes that a person has. It's the way you see the world, your default settings. Yeah. There's a way that you think the world. Every one of us, by the way, has a mindset, regardless of who you are. We come into a situation and there's a way we believe the world works. So that's what the mindset is. And we're saying that most of us have broken mindsets. And the problem is our school systems hasn't fixed that, Yeah. So we come into that, into our spiritual life, we come into it, into our business lives. And then we struggle and wonder, why isn't the gospel working? Why does this Christianity change my success rate? And we think if I just pray more, something will shift.
Yeah.
But there's something broken. So that's why it's so important. That's one of the things I realized. That's why Bishop Masika couldn't start by where most NGOs start by saying, let's create, what business can these people do? What well can we dig for them?
Yeah.
How do we solve their problems? Yeah. He was like, no, you don't need to solve people's problems. Teach them to think differently. They can solve their own problems.
That is so interesting, Pastor Yab. And this sounds interesting because that's so mind-blowing and mind-shifting, because I go to my shags, my upcountry village, and I look around, and the first thing I want to do is, I got a few things I can show you guys.
I can show you guys a few things. But poverty mentality, it's a little different, it's related, because it's that sense where you're always like, I need help. Like I can't succeed unless I'm helped. Wow. It's so prevalent in our continent. We lack agency. Poverty mentality is that thing where you see the road in your estate is got potholes, and you just drive on it. You don't actually think we can rally around. Come on,
Pastor M. You're becoming personal now.
We can actually everybody put in something small, and we fix this road. Because we don't have that mentality, we can change our reality.
But someone's got a budget for it.
That's the thing, somebody will help us.
Yeah.
And so you suffer. Wow. You stay there 10 years suffering. Your cars are always getting changing their shocks. You're always splashed by rain because you don't feel like you have the agency. Poverty mentality robs you of agency. Wow. And many Africans, we lack agency. You're always thinking it's someone else. The UN needs to do more. The government needs to do more. The aid agencies need to do more. It's never I. We are consumer nations. So, we build, like, for instance, I'll use my own country. We build a phenomenal railway, funded by China that's supposed to cut across our whole country. Yeah. Right now, we are borrowing so that we can take it all the way to Uganda. Amazing. The crazy thing, though, is we didn't do the homework of first building the industries that will export on that railway. So what are we doing? We're using the railway to bring imported cheap Chinese goods in
faster.
And then the trucks coming out are empty.
Completely.
Because we're not manufacturing. So again, even our development expenditure is consumer based. It's about how do we get cheap goods to the whole country. So it's a national emergency. You're absolutely right. But it's reflected even in the households.
Wow.
You find the poorest people in this country have a smartphone. And it's not... And I know smartphones are essential. I know they're good for business. But it's just that thing about we don't understand delayed gratification. That's a consumer.
And is it for business to sell, or is it for business to buy?
There you go.
Are you the one providing what is being bought on smartphone, or are you the one?
Are you the one who's actually supplying the solutions? And when we have these kids, you read about them from JKUAT and other universities who produce these. The guy starts creating electricity or something. We don't support them. We almost look down on them. It's like a quirk. You just see it on a newspaper or something and you're like, oh, how cool. But we don't even fund that or support that. And so we'll always consume stuff from the outside.
And this completely shifts my mindset, because one of the arguments we have is that, but the quality, and yet we've not taken time.
But those guys built the quality just like us.
Think about the Church of Acts 2. And the Bible says that they came together and they shared what they had. And And the Bible says that none of them lacked anything. I mean, that just shows the power when people come together and they share, whether you're sharing resources, whether you're sharing your ideas, whether you're sharing your networks, like, it just shows when people come together what people can accomplish. Literally, some of these problems that we experience, the poverty, imagine they can be solved by a community. Because when you come together, someone is going to share with you an idea that will spark something in you to get started on something. When you come together, if you were stuck in a business at an ideation process, somebody will say something and you're like, oh, by the way, I can actually go further than this. And so for me, my thought is that community is so powerful. We can't underestimate the place of community. And this is when people coming together in agreement and saying, this is our common purpose and we are aligning ourselves with these principles, with these values, and this is what we want to accomplish. And so anything of importance, you can never build alone. You can only build with others.
It's so countercultural.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so countercultural because my default space is, these guys, I'm going to share this idea of mine, and the next thing, somebody's going to be talking to it.
But see, it's countercultural to us, but it's not countercultural to our culture.
That's true.
Because Africans were intrinsically communal. We did things together. So I think what has happened is we've connected with this Western individualism, and it's actually become our culture. But it's an alien culture that has infiltrated and become our culture. So we've ended up taking on values that are not our values. Now, the interesting thing people need to understand, even in the West, they are not how they are now. This is after having built wealth that they entered into this individualism. Initially, their wealth was built with a lot of communality. So I remember one story that really shocked me. I went to a place called Norway. And in Norway, I didn't realize this, but actually, I think it was in the 16th. It was, there were Vikings.
Yes.
And so the Christian missionaries went there. And it was such a radical shift. I mean, these guys were fighters. So even the missionaries were like radical. So I remember one story I was being told of a guy who he said something about, the preacher was preaching and the guy interrupted and he's like, watch out. And the guy just took out his knife and just, the guy next to him just stabbed him until lala hapo kwanza. So I mean, it was like, they're like wild people. Wow. But the crazy thing, the story that struck me about them is, they said that when the missionaries would go to a village, they would actually, once people became Christians, they would actually ask them, what are you guys good at? Like, what is the thing that distinguishes this village? So maybe the village would have many cows. So they'd say, how do we help you guys become really good at this? And then you guys can become the guys who produce milk for everybody else. And then they go to another village and they would find what that village was good at. Maybe these guys were good at making cheese. So they'd make those guys to become. So basically what happened, everywhere Christianity went, an industry built up that was by the people and their gifts. I mean, how different from the Christianity we received.
This story is
and so this nation that is one of the wealthiest in the world, of course, the discovery of oil had something to do with it, but the Scandinavian nations, even the ones that didn't discover oil, they had that wealth because Christianity shifted how they thought. So I think maybe for us, we need to critique and we would say, maybe the Christianity, by the time it got to us, had gone through some permutations and there were critical elements missing. And it became about a spiritual thing. But actually, the Christianity that these guys received was a communal Christianity that said, how do you guys work together to create? So you find like in Switzerland, there would be villages that made watches. So then the Swiss watches become really famous, but it's an industry that's gone down generations, family industries. To be honest, I've personally had experiences where I thought, here I was trying to help a relative. It was misconstrued in the extended family. People thought I was taking advantage of this person, and yet I was trying to give them a leg up. But the relatives were probably wondering why they're not in the office with me. And I'm like, nobody does that. You have to get up from the bottom. But then they realize, like, why are you making your thing an intern like other people? So, I mean, there are things where you just feel like, I was misconstrued and I was trying to help a relative. But the reality is, part of it is we don't have models. Some of these communities have models, which is how then discipleship becomes so important for us. Because all these things we're talking about, mindset shift, building an empowered community, we can't do them without discipleship. The spiritual foundation is absolutely vital. And I think it's possible for us at Mavuno because we're building a strong spiritual foundation.
Right.
Where we're talking about, everybody is a discipler, everybody's in a discipleship group. Yeah. There are people who hold you accountable in that space, who are helping you grow in your faith. That's a foundation.
Yeah.
And on that foundation, then we can then start laying some of these things. When you build family, because that's what our discipleship groups are meant to be, then it then means we have a family obligation towards each other.
Yeah.
So if my brother is jobless, I'm like, I don't want this guy to stay jobless because he'll be coming to me every week asking for money.
Oh, yeah.
So any opportunity I can get, I'll hand for it like it's my opportunity. Or my son, if my son was jobless, I would look for it like it's mine. You see parents sometimes very embarrassingly saying, that company of yours, are you hiring? My young man is sitting at home. It's because it's like that guy can't be home and I'm here. It hurts me when they're home. Yeah. So if we could, when that sense of obligation and mutuality comes, then we're able to start seeing each other as, hey, this person needs to get help. But then again, we start to build systems. Because I remember one of my friends told me about a certain community where they're very prosperous in Kenya. They've become prosperous in recent times. I mean, they have a big mall. And so you know who I'm talking about. And he said, the thing about those guys is when you borrow money from a community member and then you don't pay, don't come home. Wow. Because you'll even be killed. It's at that level where your own community will actually deliver you. They're like, see, you don't do that to our community. And the person was asking me, what's the equivalent for Christians? Because we're not going to kill you if you mess up somebody else. But I feel like we can create systems around that. There's accountability, there's discipleship, there is even actual systems we can put in place. Whether it's things like, what are they called? Arbitration. There are things we can actually put in place within the community that will help us to do that. But I think the opportunity we lose by not doing it is far greater than the opportunity that the thing we're fearing could happen if we work together.
I can say something on it. I think what makes Mavuno Prosperity Unit, for example, to be so unique is that one, I'm not just blindly coming to you and I'm investing in you or I'm buying from you randomly. I mean, first there's the foundational knowledge. You're taught. There's going to be teachings. You're taught how do you do business ethically? How do you do business? How do you do business in a way that with high standards you deliver? Because God is excellent. How do you do business excellently? How do you communicate? All those things. So there's a point of where you're being taught. And so you're not just doing business because it's business, but you're also equipped with knowledge, understanding that helps you to do business in a way that honors God and honors others as well.
And I would like to give credit to Bishop Masika, who turned a village of poor people into extremely wealthy people. And these are 3 pillars that we discerned as we looked at this model. Number one is that transform mindset. And we've created the Fearless Business School and some of the classes in that to help us with that particular one. Then number 2 pillar, which we spoke about last week, is actually that empowered community, that networking, that connecting that builds oneness as that we win together. Now, the third one that you're talking about now is the wealth infrastructure. Wealth infrastructure is extremely important because like you said, you can create, and sometimes governments can be very interesting because you can create infrastructure before you build the networks, the people. So you build roads that are going to nowhere. But now once we build the people and they're productive and they're beginning to help each other, we then need to build the connectors, as you call them, the interconnectors, the accelerators that help them multiply their wealth. And for me, when I looked at someone like a Bishop Masika, what he began to do now is once the people were now empowered or working together, he started getting them now to create tools for accelerating. So for instance, you've become really good at growing sweet potatoes. And you've looked at the market and you say there's a need for this nutrient. So what does he do? You get them all growing it, you get the best quality, you get the best industry practices, produce the best. And then after that you say, how do we come together to build a meal? So rather than selling sweet potatoes like everybody else, we get sweet potato flour. And then once we get sweet potato flour, how do we create a bakery? So we bake bread, sweet potato bread, which is a completely unique proposition, high value addition. And then that bread is fantastic for diabetics because it doesn't spike their sugar.
Yeah.
It's so good for health fanatics. And then now we have a piece of bread that we can sell like nobody else can.
Wow.
At a value that nobody
Wow.
else can get.
Wow.
And then how do we now have routes to market? So that our whole community is using this route to market to accelerate.
That is
I mean,
so
that's just one
interesting.
example of some of the things I saw him doing. Huh?
You know, as you're unpacking that, Pastor M, what's very interesting is you're telling me that it's amazing for us to be able to produce the best sweet potatoes.
Yes.
And we can
Celebrate.
use our network to sell those sweet potatoes as great as we can. But those sweet potatoes have a shelf life
They do.
as sweet potatoes.
And also they have a low value.
Interesting. I'm thinking about this, and you're making some allegations that begin to poke us very closely.
Allegations, yeah.
Because when I start thinking now what this means for me in every space I'm in, you've talked about solution provision.
Absolutely.
It completely shifts my mindset about my business.
Yeah.
That I'm not just coming up with something to put money in my pocket.
Yep.
I'm coming up with a solution.
Yes.
The late Dr. Miles Monroe talks about, you want to see the value, the level of value that someone is generating.
Yeah.
Just look at their rewards.
Wow.
Their rewards.
Yeah.
Because if people are paying them a lot of money,
it means
they're clearly
There's
making a
something that
difference.
they're providing.
And he uses the example between, and he says, he's not particularly saying stop doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
saying the guy making bread is producing value for a lot of people, and they're getting rewarded for
And
it.
the more value
Yeah.
and the more people you're providing value for,
Yeah.
the higher your reward.
Exactly.
Then he shifts it and says, look at the brain surgeon. They are providing value.
Yep.
But when one person responds, they are well rewarded for it.
Absolutely.
But then he takes it further. The brain surgeon who sets up a hospital completely shifts the game, because then it's no longer just dependent on the brain surgeon, the one brain surgeon,
Yeah.
but now
It's
he's
more brains.
opened up an ecosystem.
And that ecosystem is exactly now what we're talking about here. We're saying that as a church, we must create an ecosystem. And again, this program is part of an ecosystem.
Wow.
When we talk about wealth infrastructure, we've been working, and I know we've worked with the three of you. There's one other person who's not on the show, Benny, who's been helping us with this particular piece as well. But really what we're saying is that this piece is really about getting us to now start thinking together to marshal wealth.
I like
beyond
it.
networking, beyond connecting, beyond building trust, beyond building those structures, then now, what are some accelerators we can get into that can help us? And you know, it's interesting for me, there's nothing in this passage, I'm sure it was there, but it's not mentioned. You don't see Isaac praying.
No.
You don't actually see, because there's a drought and he's been told to stay there.
Yeah.
You don't see him praying. You don't see God telling him, go and dig a well. There's just a way that this man is able to put two and two together and say, wells is what creates prosperity. I mean, the multiplier effect is great when people work together.
Changes.
And so these are some of the things we're saying that the team has been working on behind the scenes. And I really believe in the next year, we're going to start to see some of these things really doing well. But initially, we're going to start with a few smaller things, because we want to grow. We don't want to run before we can walk. We want to keep testing and iterating and just get better and better. And maybe some people who are watching this have the expertise and they're saying, that sounds like something that I'm really good at. And you're not too late. You can actually volunteer and say, I want to be part of this. But we also want to tell you there's opportunity. There are going to be opportunities to invest within your community, your faith community. Awesome. And that's what we want to be about.
Awesome. I don't know what you're hearing as you listen to this conversation, Pastor Carol.
Well, just a lot of exciting things that it's a whole how do you say, like a whole build up of, first you're equipped with knowledge, and then you are surrounded by community, and then after you're surrounded with the community who help you prosper, you have people who are willing to, when you're making money already, they're willing to make you wealthier, accelerate your way to getting wealthier. And I'm like, this is just a fantastic opportunity. And there's something you mentioned about having incubators and accelerators. And that's the thing. There are people in Mavuno who have amazing ideas.
Yep.
And the people of the world, the wealthy organizations, they know that they are fantastic ideas, but they are very predatory.
They do. They are.
Their praise.
They'll come and give you competitions, and the best one will
yes.
receive funding or grants.
Yes.
But basically, usually it's for they come in and take a shareholding because they can see the power of that idea.
The opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure you will want to rewatch each one of those episodes. When you do, keep a notebook with you and write down practical actions that you can implement. I have some takeouts for you. Number 1, sign up for the Faith-Driven Entrepreneur Foundation course. This is a powerful 8-week journey into your kingdom role in the marketplace. The flyer is on the screen, and our WhatsApp number is available in case you'd like to reach out to us for any details. Now, number 2 is that you need to find a faith-based business community. If your church has a business community that already exists, then join that one. If there is none near you, well, reach out to us and we'd love to help you start a faith business community in your church or in your neighborhood. You need to also, number 3, let your business community know what it is that you do. Look for partnership opportunities and participate in business networking forums, especially within your church community or within your faith community. Last but not least, I have some books for you to read. Kingdonomics, which was written by Pastor Mureithi Wanjao, is one of the books that you need to find. And the other one is Faith-Driven Entrepreneur by Henry Kastner, J.D. Greer, and Chip Ingram. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, fearless business owner, fearless marketplace influencer, this has been Fearless Business, where we challenge you to go forth and be fearless.